soon as I step out the room, somebody tapping into my phone, my camera. I got somebody parked over there in McDonald's with their lights on. A really strange place with their lights on. Another person tapping in. They've been exposed. Looks like I've seen this guy before. Apparently he works here. It's obviously stalking too. That person dips off down the street while I'm distracted. Slowly driving off down the street. And while I'm recording this, someone is recording me. I'm staying in a temporary location. Nobody's supposed to know where I'm at. In fact, it's nobody's business to know where I'm at. And yet, there's a McDonald's across the street where people are sitting and waiting as soon as I come out of my space. The moment I open up the door, I get a message that somebody has already tapped in to my phone. Somebody wants to see my beautiful face. They don't want me to see theirs. Tailing me already. The bronze looking Honda. RT8R78KGJ. Young black male, glasses. Probably an older black male with glasses. Tailing me. Actually, it's a white male with glasses. I guess they look black because they're hiding in the shadows. See it all the way back. Sitting all the way back so nobody could see them. I'm driving on Route 1 and 9, headed north. Car 78 KGJ is just past me. One with the little spoiler on the back, little Honda. One of the things gang stalkers do to let most people know that they're stalking is they pull directly right up to your bumper, all the way up to your bumper. as close as they can get while you're sitting at a stoplight. So if you're watching this video and you're wondering to yourself why they do that, well, there's two reasons. Number one, they want to intimidate you. Number two, they're trying to get a really good close view of you. They pull that close, you can see them in your rear view mirror and they can see you in your rear view mirror. Sometimes they will take a picture of you. If they have a dash cam, they've already got a full good view of you. And all they do is pass this information around all day long. You'll see complete strangers looking at you or taking pictures of you or text messaging your whereabouts. That's because they done passed around your picture to stalk you. It's the other reason why this is a federal crime and they call it gang stalking is because there's a whole group of people who are involved in stalking you. It's not difficult to prove and prosecute. It's just very time consuming and it could be expensive. One TI, or I should call him an empowered individual, one empowered individual actually suggested that you focus on a select few. Those people that you see almost every day. If you're living in a neighborhood, more than likely your neighbors are stalking you and you can see them every day. They'll probably be doing the same thing over and over. Leave out ahead of you, sit in their car, wait for you to leave, pretend that they're driving off when all they do is turn around and come back and park somewhere close by while you leave. Or they may even drive off ahead of you and continue to follow and pursue you throughout the day. They may even drive off ahead of you and wait somewhere, hide in a bush or in a location where they don't think that they can be seen, and film you or take pictures of you to pass it around to other people. Now, there are a lot of people who are involved in this gang stalking, but it's not in the tens of thousands as they try to make it out to be. Already I've seen the same group of 20 people. They also rotate another 20 people. The 20 people that they often use are the same people who live where I live or where I stay. I'm in Union County, New Jersey. So when I post my pictures and you're being stalked in Union County, New Jersey, pay attention to those pictures and the people that you see. You've probably seen them every day too. The other reason why I know that there are not the tens of thousands of gang stalkers that they try to portray is because I've seen a gang stalker stalk me and a couple of other targets all in the same time. So what somebody does is they actually lay out the whole assignment for these people for the entire day. And they'll have a backup crew just in case things don't go as planned. Your assignment, or their assignment, would be to follow a particular person from the time that they leave their job, return home, and vice versa in the morning. Sometimes they'll use people driving on the road to create problems, distractions, traffic jams, even accidents. Other things that they'll do is they'll, instead of having somebody go out ahead of you, they'll delay behind you. And that car just right there, if you saw and paid attention to the young lady with the braids who was getting in the van, she had a green vest. They like to wear these green vests. It indicates that they're a city worker. Sometimes it also indicates that they're working on a construction site. That bright green color is also a supposed indicator to the ones that they're communicating to secretively that they're working as a gang stalker. For those of you who are learning about gang stalking for the first time, here's a piece of advice. Live your life, but pay attention. You cannot record everybody all the time, because there are some people who are actually sitting in an apartment building with a camera, a very expensive camera with a scope lens that could probably zoom in to detail a fly passing by your ear. And you can't find them, you can't see them, because they're hiding at maybe 1,000 yards away or 30 yards away, 60 yards away. Especially in places where you would never think to look. Like, I work in New York City, and I've discovered and uncovered a lot of gang stalking activity right there in Midtown. They'll use the homeless, they'll use the business owners, store owners, and a lot of them are not recruits. Some of them are just people who've been coerced into doing certain things, like look the other way, watch out for this person. If they continue to look the other way, eventually they do become a actual gang stalker. Now, I have this car that's actually directly behind me. There's a woman driving this time, but I've seen this car follow me. Actually, it was sitting in Jersey City, waiting for me to bend the corner after I parked my car. There's an old woman with glasses, and she's a bit upset that I've actually just did this. So what? I'm upset that you're following me. This particular vehicle, and I do realize that a lot of people will drive the same vehicle pretending to be the owner or the driver that has authorization to use a vehicle, and a lot of times that's not true. But this particular vehicle was parked near Newark Penn Station. I had parked my car a couple of blocks away, and they waited for me to bend the corner. They had their camera ready, and they took a couple of photos of me. This Ford B11 GPP is the exact same license plate of this vehicle. This Ford right there, B11 GPP. She hurried up and drove past me, but she was lagging behind me for about a mile. And because my video recording has been tapped into, they already probably told her what I'm saying, and they'll stage things a little bit differently than they originally planned. So back to you newbies. I invite you to not only Google and research the laws of stalking and harassment and gang stalking, federal crimes that are related, Agenda 21, the secret societies such as the Masons, Freemasons, the Illuminati, Satanism, and of course gang stalking. Do some research, do your background, so that you'll know exactly what this is. I'm at a point where I understand a lot more than I did a month ago, and I realize that all of this ties into Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is the New World Order for the 21st century. The United Nations has decided to come together in a plot to depopulate the entire world. There's close to 7.8 billion, and you can check the numbers again for yourself. About 7.8 billion people on the earth right about now. I could be wrong. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. And they want to reduce the population to about 500,000, which is about the 1% of people who practically have control over the world as it is, or at least they think they do. And I say at least they think they do because y'all really don't rule anything. You're given an opportunity to think that you do because there's a bigger plan, bigger than you. There's a greater power, greater than you, who ultimately has his agenda, the Lord God Almighty. His name is Yeshaya. Now we back to this Ford driving behind me again. There she goes, just tagging me, driving behind me. I move from lane to lane and she's all on me. Lady, you too old for that. Too old for that. Too darn old. Little old black lady with a little wig on and some glasses. Too old for that, lady. And I don't care if y'all angry. Try to create problems for me while I drive. I don't care if y'all angry. I don't. God is angry with the wicked every day. Back to the empowered individuals. Some people call them targeted individuals. You're in the same category, but I prefer to say empowered individuals. Why? Because you are about to embark on some new information. You're about to get a new revelation of what has been happening in your world since 1997. I believe 1997, 98, 99, around that time. Because COINTELPRO has decided to go public and use what they've practiced in secret and in military scenarios. They're now using it on the public. You'll notice that these cars with these lights on, most of them are secretively, well, now it's gone public, but supposedly letting other gang stalkers know that they're a gang stalker. You'll also notice this bright green. You'll notice orange t-shirt, red t-shirt, light blue and dark blue. No, actually, I haven't seen too many dark blue. Light blue t-shirts. Some of them will wear a dark blue t-shirt. Those colors, oh, and there's a black and there's a gray. A lot of times, they keep it real simple. If they want to go undetected, they'll keep it simple so that people get the impression that they're not actually doing what they're really doing. So I'm helping you to understand and clarify. Here's some other pointers. People who walk very closely behind you, especially if you're in places like New York City. And there's a black Jeep that's following me with their lights on. I've seen that black Jeep numerous times. And here's another gang stalker standing at the corner. He rubs his eye to let them know, yeah, I see you. Because they're giving him a signal to target me or someone else. Sometimes when you're in places like New York City and it's overcrowded, they try to use that in a way to disguise the fact that they're following you. Don't be deceived. Nobody needs to follow directly behind you at 2 paces behind. Nobody needs to be talking extra loud. They're called grabbers, and they're trying to grab your attention on purpose, hoping that they can go undetected from being noticed. They don't want you to know that someone else is trying to take your picture and stalk you and follow you. Sometimes they want you to look in a certain direction or look a certain way in order to get a better view of you than someone else. I often park on this street. A lot of times these people are told to watch out for me. I've actually seen people go do some really creative measures to follow me and watch me. So you see a lot of strange things. It's not an accident, it's not a coincidence. When you see one car circling a block, maybe you went back inside because you forgot something, and that same car is either sitting outside or they didn't circle the block and you have no idea who this person is. That's on purpose. Or maybe you're sitting in your car and there's one person waiting at a corner. They're just standing there, not saying anything, possibly just looking in their phone, which happens to be a normal thing these days. Looking in your phone. People are so lost in their phone these days. It's kind of ridiculous. But they could just be standing on the corner. You might drive by somewhere and somebody will point their finger at you or point in your direction, hold their arm up. These are all hand signals. They communicate different things. So you might want to Google that and find out how people communicate these hand signals. A lot of times people will leave out their home at the same time as you. That's another indication that somebody's stalking you. A lot of times people will wait outside their front door, and as soon as you step outside, all of a sudden they lock the door or they go inside. That's not an accident or coincidence. It's also done on purpose. And just like this whole gang stalking thing is non-discriminatory in regards to age, race, and gender, the person stalking is also non-discriminatory by age, race, and gender. Sometimes you'll see people just sitting in their car, like the one I passed. When you pass by them, all they're doing is looking in their rear view mirror. That's because they were expecting or hoping that you would come down that block so that they could make notice of you to someone else. This is not really a tight network, but it is a well-oiled machine, I'll give you that much. They've taken years to perfect it. And make no mistake about it, the police are involved and are aware of it. Some of them don't want to be involved in it. Some of them do it when they're off. Some of them do it while they're on the job. Some of them do it. There's like this guy right here with the red shoes and the all black and the gray. He is a gang stalker, and he was told to take out his camera. He literally got a message while I was parked here at this light. Well, not parked. I stopped here at this red light. And now he's walking away because he's been made. And now he's not on his phone anymore. Isn't that interesting? Right when the light turns green. There are a lot of tactics that people use. You see people scratching the eye. And here's the really sad thing about it. The people who are doing the stalking is being stalked also by someone on a higher level than them. Sometimes the people know it and sometimes they don't know it. Just like the handlers are also being stalked and monitored. All of it's done so that people are doing their job. That's really what it is. But it's a sad truth when you think about it. A very sad truth. But for those of you who are experiencing this for the first time, also know this: do not be afraid of them. They will try every tactic possible to intimidate you and hope to make you afraid. They will talk about killings and murders and things like that. One thing is for sure, they will try not to do it in public. It draws too much attention. And they're hoping that news, journalists, and programs do not make light of it if it does go mainstream. Yesterday I saw on the internet a story. I think it was not yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, about a guy who loaded his gun leaning against the trunk of a police cruiser in broad daylight, loaded his gun, walked across the street, and shot 2 people. The news headlines read something to the effect that these perps are now becoming bold and brazen, something like that. I also read in a newspaper about 3 guys jumped a guy in a red shirt. I think it was a Portland Trailblazer shirt, something like that. I could be wrong. Sorry if I am. 3 guys, definitely. 1 guy with a red shirt, believed to be in a gang, and that's why they jumped him and beat him up. Those are intentionally put in the news media. Intentionally. Why is it intentionally done? Because they want to draw attention to violence. They're also sending secret codes and messages. Some of them are to intimidate people who speak up about this gang stalking. Truth be told is, if you know any little bit of truth about an injustice that's happening to not just you, but to your family or people you know, or it's happening around you, even the person who is in self-preservation mode, definitely. And there's a black guy in this car with a white or Hispanic female in the back. I'm not sure if he's supposedly posing to be Lyft or Uber driver, but definitely you'll see people like that often. One person driving and one person in the back seat instead of in the passenger seat. The reason why they're doing this is because they want that person in the back seat to go undetected while they take your picture. They'll also hide out in your side, your side view, or in your blind spot, really, hoping that you don't see them until it's almost too late, like you're about to create an accident, because they're hanging out in your blind spot to look at you in the side view mirror. The interesting thing about this is that a lot of times these gang stalkers are real criminals and real perps. And they're hoping to get a little bit of time taken off their sentence, an early release, some help with the family, those types of things. That's what they're hoping for. Yep, that's exactly what they're hoping for. And they're hoping that they won't have to continue doing this gang stalking thing, but unfortunately, it's like blood in, blood out for most of them. You have to really rebel to the max to get out of it. But it can be done. I believe it can be done. Here's another advice for those of you who are doing this, who are experiencing this for the first time. Do not, absolutely do not join the dark side, as many empowered individuals will say. They will give you the impression that if you join them, that it will all go away. Well, that's kind of stupid if you think about it. How could it go away if you join them? It won't stop. You'll just be doing it to somebody else. And you're the worst kind of perp if you do join them, because you know what it feels like. You know what the experiences are. And now you're inflicting that same pressure and hardship on someone else. That makes you disgusting. And you deserve whatever hardship comes your way. And believe you me, they will not have any mercy on you if they believe or if they know that you've turned. And there is a way to know. They'll dress you a certain way, and they'll have certain people watching you. That's how they know that you've turned.